welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage to voice your opinions and thoughts. This is ETNR's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center in every industry and areas that matter to you. On Influencer tonight, we're bringing a conversation with Jaipur Rugs House, and later on the show, a special conversation with Edcast. Tonight, we bring you the third part of a series of interviews that we did on the ground from Pink City, Jaipur. The Leaders of Tomorrow goes to 20 cities and towns across India to connect better with you, the MSME entrepreneur. Stay tuned. We'll likely be coming to your city as well. Today's interview is with Jaipur Rugs, a name to be reckoned with in the carpet market. Now, this company is known for its quality and craftsmanship, and I spoke with the founder about how MSME should go about building a brand name for themselves. Take a look. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. I want to ask you about the journey behind, you setting up Jaipur Rugs. What's the history been like? Very briefly, tell our viewers.
देखिए, मैंने आज के 38 साल पहले अपने पिताजी से 5,000 रुपये उधार लिए और कारपेट बनाने की 2 लूमें अपने घर पे लगाई और एज ए जॉब वर्कर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग मैंने शुरुआत की। 8 साल मैंने कॉन्ट्रैक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की, फिर अपने भाई के साथ मैंने एक एक्सपोर्ट कंपनी की शुरुआत की और आज के 18 साल पहले मैंने जयपुर रग कंपनी जीरो से शुरू की और आज जयपुर रग कंपनी से करीब 40,000 लोग 6 स्टेट्स में जुड़े हुए हैं और करीब 40 देशों में हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं।
You have a very unique model in that you work with women artisans who have, I understand, looms in their homes. You monitor the quality of the rugs that are coming out of their homes. Talk to our viewers about why you've set up that model and how that model is working for you.
इस धंधे में काम करने वाली मोस्टली महिलाएं थी। पुरुष लोग जो आते थे वो थोड़े दिन बाद काम छोड़ देते थे। तो मुझे महिलाओं के बारे में पता चला कि महिलाएं कितनी एफिशिएंट होती है, कितनी रिसेप्टिव होती है और काम को कितना प्रेम करती है। तो धीरे धीरे मैंने महिलाओं की क्वालिटी को पहचानना शुरू किया। फिर मेरे 3 बेटियां थी, तो हमारे उस समाज में अगर किसी औरत की 3 बेटी होती है तो उसको मतलब थोड़ा एक अच्छी नज़रों से नहीं देखते। मेरा अंग्रेज़ दोस्त था कि तुम लकी हो कि तुम्हारे 3 बेटियां हैं और तुम इसकी चिंता मत करो, तुम्हारी बेटियों को बेटों से ज़्यादा तुम पालो पोसो। तो मैंने उनको सबको विदेश पढ़ने के लिए भेजा और आज देखो तीनों बेटियों ने इस कारपेट ग्लोबल इंडस्ट्री की डेफिनेशन चेंज की है और बहुत बड़े मतलब उन्होंने नई चीज़ें शुरू की है।
So like you're saying that you largely work with women and women's empowerment is very crucial to what you do at Jaipur Rugs. Your daughters are also involved in your business, involved very closely with your business. Tell us about whether the government is doing enough to support and encourage more women, whether it is in your industry or other industries. Would you like to see more incentives coming for women workers?
देखिए, सरकार ने ऐसी बहुत सारी स्कीमें बनाई है कि वुमेन ज़्यादा अच्छे से काम कर पाएँ और ज़्यादा वुमेन आए, लेकिन अभी तक मैंने देखा है कि उनका वो जितनी भी जो सरकार की जो स्कीम्स है उसका एप्लीकेशन बहुत कम हुआ है। अब वो जितनी भी जो स्कीम्स बनाई गई है वो बहुत कम प्रैक्टिकल है और अभी मैंने कारपेट इंडस्ट्री में ऐसी कोई स्कीम को लागू होते और प्रैक्टिकली लागू होते अभी तक मैंने नहीं देखा।
Okay, I want to talk about skilled workforce. Your industry depends very heavily on having people with the necessary skill sets. How do you go about training the people who work with you? What kind of training do you undertake? How much of an additional cost is that? How do you ensure that they're constantly sort of, reskilling and upskilling and updating their skills?
देखिए, जब से इस काम को 38 साल पहले मैंने शुरू किया था तो मैंने लोगों की ट्रेनिंग से शुरू किया और आज तक 38 साल हो गए। मोस्टली हमारा जो मेन फोकस होता है वो उन वुमेन की ट्रेनिंग पे ही होता है। हम ट्रेनिंग में बहुत तरह की ट्रेनिंग्स प्रोग्राम हमने बनाए हैं। हम शुरू में जो वुमेन बिल्कुल काम को नहीं जानते उसको स्किल ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, फिर जो पुरानी वुमेन है उनकी स्किल अपग्रेड करते हैं, फिर हमने एक वीवर एंगेजमेंट प्रोग्राम चलाया, उसके द्वारा वुमेन की लीडरशिप को कैसे बढ़ाएं, उनके पुराने माइंडसेट को कैसे तोड़ें जिससे वो जीरो डिफेक्ट, जीरो वेस्टेज और 100% ऑन टाइम डिलीवरी, उसकी तरफ वो वुमेन और हमारे धंधे को लेके जाएं। और हमें उसमें इतनी इस बारी सफलता मिल रही है कि आज वो सारी वुमेन ग्लोबली इतनी फेमस हो चुकी है कि जब भी कोई दिल्ली में कोई मिनिस्टर आते हैं तो उनको वहाँ पर बोलने के लिए बुलाया जाता है। विदेशों में उनकी इतनी मांग बनी कि कितने विदेशी लोग उनको देखने मिलने के लिए आते हैं।
Okay. But this cost that you are taking on in terms of skilling, do you think that there is a sufficient outcome that comes in? And the reason I ask you this question is that a lot of companies say that the government should ideally have institutes and courses and programs where they can train skilled laborers in these traditional industries. Do you also wish that there had been something like that so that that additional cost is something you don't have to bear?
हाँ, अभी क्या पिछले देखिए 4-5 साल में ना गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत अच्छे से ना स्किल डेवलपमेंट के लिए प्लानिंग की है, और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप और NSDC उन्होंने भी काफ़ी अच्छे प्रोग्राम बनाए हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि इससे इंडस्ट्री को बहुत फ़ायदा होगा।
Okay, let's talk, since you're talking about the government, I want to talk about Make in India. The government is going all out to promote Make in India, but Make in India is largely being restricted to the manufacturing sector. How do companies and industries like yours participate in that? Would you like to see any benefits out of Make in India, any incentives, and are you getting any?
देखिए क्या है कि अपने प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने जो मेक इन इंडिया कैंपेन शुरू किया, तो मैंने ये देखा कि जो अपने हिंदुस्तान के लोगों के अंदर एक जो स्किल है, जो औरतों के अंदर एक पैशन है, तो उसको बहुत बड़ा बढ़ावा पूरे दुनिया में मिलेगा। और अभी हमने एक इनिशिएटिव शुरू की, उन औरतों का पैशन, उनकी ब्लेसिंग्स, उनकी क्रिएटिविटी की सारी जो कहानी है, उनके जीवन में क्या चेंज आता है वो कस्टमर तक पहुँचे। और हमें ये विश्वास है कि इस कारपेट इंडस्ट्री को उन वीवर की कहानी कस्टमर तक पहुँचाने के लिए द कस्टमर विल फील प्राउड कि ये इंडिया में किसी वुमेन ने हार्ट एंड सोल दे के बनाया है। तो इसको मैं एक बहुत बड़ा कदम मान के चलता हूँ, और हैंडीक्राफ्ट इंडस्ट्री में इससे काफ़ी बढ़ावा मिलेगा।
Speaking of the handicrafts industry, what kind of framework in terms of government rules and regulation exists right now? What's the biggest change you want to see?
सरकार बहुत प्रयास कर रही है, बहुत पैसा दे रही है, बड़ी अच्छी स्कीमें बना रही है, लेकिन जो स्कीम बनाने वाले लोग हैं, क्योंकि उनका ग्रास रूट का उनको समझ नहीं है, कभी वो जाके उनसे मिलते नहीं हैं, कभी उनकी ओपिनियन को उसमें लिए नहीं जाता। तो सरकार जो स्कीमें बना रही है उसका जो एप्लीकेशन है वो रियल एप्लीकेशन उसमें बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है।
Talk to us about the exports that you do at Jaipur Rugs. How many countries do you export to right now? What are some of the biggest opportunities and challenges when you started exploring an export market?
देखिए अभी हम लोग करीब 40 देशों में एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, और जो हिंदुस्तान में जो हिंदुस्तान की ये जो कला है, उस कला की कदर अभी मैं देख रहा हूँ कि काफ़ी अच्छे से ना आगे बढ़ रही है। लोग ये जानना चाहते हैं कि किस तरह इस इंडस्ट्री की वजह से लोगों के जीवन में फ़र्क आ रहा है। तो ये एक नई अपॉर्चुनिटी क्रिएट कर रही है, और एक जो व्यूवर है उनको कैसे एंड कंज्यूमर से इमोशनली कनेक्ट करें, जिससे उनकी लाइफ डिग्निफाई हो, और अभी वो जो कमा रहे हैं उससे वो ज़्यादा कमा पाए।
You are based in Jaipur. What is the biggest opportunity of being based in a non-metro and the biggest challenge of being based in a non-metro?
देखिए जयपुर के आसपास जितने गांव हैं, उन गांव में मतलब हजारों की संख्या में महिलाएं इस कारपेट बनाती है। तो उन महिलाओं तक पहुंचना, उन घरों तक पहुंचना हमारे लिए बहुत इजी है। और जयपुर क्या है कि ओवर क्राउडेड नहीं है दिल्ली बॉम्बे की तरह से, तो कस्टमर का यहाँ पर आना जाना उसके लिए काफ़ी मतलब अच्छा है।
What are the next few years looking like for you at Jaipur Rugs?
देखिए आने वाले जो 4 या 5 साल का हमने जो टारगेट बनाया है, जयपुर रग विल बी द वन ऑफ द बेस्ट ग्रेटेस्ट कंपनी ग्लोबली, और जो हमारे जो व्यूवर्स हैं वो सारे ब्रांड एम्बेसडर बन के वो डायरेक्ट एंड कंज्यूमर से जुड़े, और उनकी जो कला है वो कला उनकी जो क्रिएटिविटी है वो और ज़्यादा बढ़े। और अभी उनको बोलते हैं डिप्राइव कास्ट, और अभी हमने एक नई इनिशिएटिव शुरू किया है, उसमें हम बोलते हैं कि दैट इज़ द क्रिएटिव कास्ट, और उनकी क्रिएटिविटी पूरे दुनिया तक पहुँचे।
And wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Time for a break. When we come back, a segment with Edcast on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight on this special interview, we're bringing you a conversation with Karl Mehta of Edcast. Now, Karl Mehta is a serial entrepreneur and investor and the founder CEO of Edcast. I spoke with him about entrepreneurship, technology, how Indian entrepreneurs use technology, and how we compare with our global peers, notably China. Take a listen. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on ET Now, Karl. Let's start by talking about how companies across the world are being disrupted and are disrupting what is being done thanks to AI.
Well, thank you for having me. I think we are living in a very unique time in the history of the world of how technology has evolved. We are currently in the fourth industrial revolution, as the World Economic Forum puts it, which is as significant as the invention of electricity. And then the third industrial revolution was about computerization. In this fourth revolution, we are looking at robotics and AI as the primary driver, transforming pretty much every industry. We have seen just in the last 17 years, since the year 2000, 50% of the Fortune 500 companies have gone out of business, or they have been wiped out of the Fortune 500 list. We are also seeing a forecast now that in the next 5 years, 50% of Fortune 500 companies that are listed today will be disappearing from that list. So that's a massive impact on companies in their business models, and that is all driving disruption across all industries, whether it is healthcare, whether it is transportation. We've seen the emergence of the driverless car, which is becoming a reality that we see around us all the time in the valley. We are seeing it in healthcare. We are seeing in financial services. So there is no industry and no businesses or individual companies, and even including individuals like us, our jobs are at threat as well with this new transformation with AI.
Sure. So what's going to drive that switch to more aggressive adoption?
Well, so in the US, it is already happening super fast. Like, who would have expected, like, that this driverless car would happen so fast? Right, it's a very sophisticated technology, and everybody was thinking that the AI technology and the machine learning technology would find more benign or easy to implement use cases. But an automobile is a very, very tough use case because it can have the potential to even kill somebody. But we have gotten to a level where you can apply today, and you see driverless car as a reality. It is happening pretty much at every industry is rapidly adopting it in the US. Automation is happening. We are starting to see actually already job losses. So World Economic Forum has this forecast, in which is we're seeing the numbers now that almost 4 to 5 million jobs are going to go away, and they have listed down every job category that are at the highest risk. So it starts from kind of the low-end, entry-level, mechanical types of jobs and roles. So at least in the US now, you're seeing that a lot of jobs which were done mechanically by people.
It's widespread enough to be a cause for concern. So give us the India perspective then. Are enough Indian companies, while they do recognize the need, are they doing enough about it?
Well, so I am really concerned about India because India's software industry was built on this whole IT services, and a bulk of that IT services is low end, which is doing business BPO work, which is quite mechanical. And computers and AI, once you can train the machine, they can do much better job more efficiently than even human beings, and it's already been proven. The other part, which is the programming skills, even a lot of programming is getting automated. So we are seeing less and less needs of just an army of programmers just writing Python code or whatever Ruby on Rails code, because you can actually program the machine to create much more efficient coding. So there is a huge concern amongst the BPO and the IT services companies here. I think the leaders here do recognize that, but we have not seen much in action yet. In fact, I've been looking at some of the data as a former venture capitalist. The investments in AI and the M&As are actually happening far more in China, and the Chinese companies and the Chinese government has been far more proactive than the Indian government or the Indian US. Yes.
So is it largely being led then by the government? Is it sort of a top-down push that's coming in?
Well, in the China, they have a different structure. There's a lot of capital available from the government, and it's kind of very mixed bag. You know, you have a lot of funds there, but their source of the funds could be a lot of sovereign funds, and everything kind of rolls back ultimately to the government because of a communist regime. So, but nevertheless, the entrepreneurs in China, like the Baidus of the world and the Tencents of the world, they have been very global in their outlook. They've been very aggressive about riding on this next big wave of AI. My own personal perspective is that AI is going to have 10x more impact than even the entire internet impact that we have seen in our lifetime in just the past 20 years. So imagine that, just, you know, everything that we have seen in the past 20 years, that what internet has done, and now you take it 10x with AI. So the Chinese entrepreneurs and the Chinese companies as well as the government has made tremendous investment. There was more patents being filed in AI from China than even in the United States. More citations, more papers. And India is lagging by a big distance.
Okay, so one thing I definitely want to understand from you is how companies ensure that employees across the board, not just the CXO level, not just the CTO, understands AI and is able to prepare for a world where AI is going to be more prevalent.
Sure. Well, I mean, we have now a once in 100 years kind of a situation where we would have to transform our workforce to this new fourth industrial revolution. If we don't make our workforce ready for this fourth industrial revolution, which is AI and robotics driven, the impact is even going to be much more than, think about this, if we would have missed the whole computerization revolution, right? So what we need to do, our companies, our governments have to invest in massive upskilling and reskilling. We have to move people off some of the mechanical jobs and give it to the machines. There's no point in resisting the machines. It's going to do what it's going to do. So there has to be very systematic programs in place. There has to be a culture created for lifelong learning, and that is happening in the United States. And there's just a need, a fundamental need to retrain the entire workforce, not just in India, but globally, because in the developed nations, we have more not just upskilling, but we have to just reskill people. Okay. So it's more like reskilling America and then upskilling a lot of developing countries.
Okay, so two quick last questions then before we let you go. And you were talking about coding previously, and coding is something that you're personally very passionate about.
Well, so I founded this nonprofit called Code for India. We have several thousand Indian Americans or people of Indian origin as volunteers, and we train young kids out of college or even in school. We do programs, we do hackathons. We did one hackathon when Prime Minister Modi was in Silicon Valley with Sundar Pichai at Google. But we are also moving Code for India into the next level, which is saying, how do we train people in machine learning, in AI, in cryptocurrency, and blockchain, and things like that, in newer technologies. But all of us will have to become basically technology geeks. Because the whole world is being taken over by technology. Every business is a technology business first. In fact, I was speaking to a chairman and CEO of a large bank, one of the top 3 banks in the United States, and he said that, look, I don't look at my business as an CEO of a bank. I see that I'm a technology company that happens to be in banking business. So all of us has to have that mindset, whether you are in whatever business and whether you're a media person, you have to look at it, you're a technology person who happens to be in the media.
A journalist. Okay, a quick last word then. How is Edcast recognizing what companies should be doing and what they're doing right now and plugging those gaps, and what next for you?
Right. So with Edcast, we are leveraging AI and machine learning to drive massive scale personalization. So think about, learning used to happen 5,000 years back, where it was highly personalized. You had your own personal guru who would know exactly your strengths and weaknesses and can lead you the path to it every day. Today with AI, I can give you your own personalized coach, and you can call that coach whatever you like to. You can name it Eddie or you can name it Sally, and then Sally would greet you every morning and say, "Hi Sunanda, how are you doing? I see that you have 30 minutes on your calendar, and I would like to schedule this training for you because I see that that's your career path, that's your learning path." So with all this bad news or negative news in terms of the job losses that could happen because of AI, if we can really leverage that and use that, we can actually, it can be a great opportunity. We can massively train and upskill and reskill our workforce with this personalized training that was never possible before, right? And we can all be living a much better, we can create a lot more prosperity in the world. So we have to be very careful about it, because if we don't do that, the big threat is that if we don't transition there, it could create a lot of job losses and can actually bring down the prosperity that has been built.
Sure. Karl Mehta, thank you very much for coming down to our studios.
Thank you.
That's our show tonight. If you have any feedback, any commentary, do remember you can always email us at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com, tweet at me at Sunanda_J or LOT_ET now. Our Facebook page is Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now, or call us on that number you see on your screen. We love hearing from you. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.